We have so many exciting things for the next 3 days. Hope we can all keep the energy. We've never done 3 days of live internet TV, so we're really, really excited. And what I love about this 3 days is that we do a lot of teaching. I taught business courses at a community college, and we'll tell you our stories, but when you get to actually do it, it makes such a difference than reading a business book or learning it in a business course. So my goal for you guys here is to go home with clarity on your brand and your products and your prices and a sales plan and all these things that are spinning out there. I feel like it's, when we get into business, we're like picking up puzzle pieces everywhere, but we don't have that picture on the box. Isn't that what we're like? We're like, okay, let's, this piece looks like it might go here. There's some blue and some blue. Let's put the puzzle pieces in. And what we want to do today, or through these 3 days, is to give you guys the picture of the puzzle box and many pieces of the puzzle, so you can go back and you know what it looks like. You have a lot of the pieces, and you just have to put those pieces into place. Okay, so it'll be such a good feeling, because I know that's what we're all doing. We're getting pieces at conventions and from some great pieces, but without having that picture of the box, it's really hard. So that's our goal for today. Let me talk a little bit with you guys. I have my fancy little clicker. I love this setup, and I tell you, the team here has been amazing building this set. We're like, oh, we'd like this. Boom. There's guys running. I don't know. My husband, it might not be happy with me when I get home. So I'm gonna be like, wow, there were these guys. I just say, I'd like this, and boom, it happened. So I'm we're feeling a little spoiled, aren't we? But we want to talk a little bit about who this program is for. You guys are stuck with us for 3 days, so if you feel like you're in the wrong place, then that's just too bad. But we work with photographers every day at The Joy of Marketing, and I've had a small business. You'll hear my story again, but over 10 years, and those first couple years, you know, you put your kids to bed, and then you're up in the middle of the night retouching because it's got to get done, and you're working all the time. So you guys out there watching, if you feel like that's you, you're gonna learn things from us.
I think the second thing that we hear so much of at The Joy of Marketing is, I love the photography aspect of it, but I'm not making enough money at it. I keep attracting these price-sensitive clients that all they want to do is nickel and dime me. They don't want to pay what I'm worth. And that's what we're going to talk about. And especially in this first day, I think we kind of jump ahead and we forget that there's some foundation that you need to build with a business first, before you just hang out your shingle and say, hey, I'll do this for money. And that's your brand. And so that's a big piece of making sure that you can charge enough money for what you do. And that's why we're so excited to do this entire makeover, but really focusing heavily on the brand, is because it's one of those things it's hard to get your arms around. It's like brand, and everybody's like, what is that? I don't know. Is it my logo? It's a confusing thing. So we're going to try to hopefully clear the water there for all of you guys at home, so that you understand it doesn't have to be hard to build a strong brand.
And I think people too feel like, oh, I left my corporate job or my job with benefits and vacation, so I get to do what I love, but because of that, I don't get to make money and I don't get to have all those benefits, and that's not true. Afraid to sell to clients. Come on, all of you are like, yeah, busted. You all have a mustache now, so you can go in with your mustache. If you have a wonderful system that is created to serve and thrill your clients, it doesn't have to be this salesy, yucky thing. And that's what we love about all the things we teach, is you should be able to thrill your clients, and you should get referrals because of it. And it doesn't have to feel salesy and yucky. But certain things have to happen so that you can get the orders and that you can keep moving on, and you're not spending hours and weeks and years chasing clients down. So if that's where you guys are struggling, you're in the right place.
So I mentioned it before, the attracting the wrong clients, right? So the first thing you hear on the phone call that your phone rings and you hear, how much do you cost? Right? We all hear that. So there's something wrong if that's the first question you're hearing over and over and over again with that phone call that you're getting from prospective clients. So if that's what you're hearing, we've got a lot coming up for you guys the next 3 days on how to fix that. And it's not just about your brand, it's about your marketing, it's about your sales process. And there's a lot of things that go into that need to happen to make sure that you can kind of stop getting rid of those bottom feeders.
Yeah, because in other industries, people compete with cheap, which we know happens in our industry, but in our industry, we're competing with free because everybody has a nice camera. Everybody has an iPhone. That's our new camera of choice. Yeah. So we have to do so many things differently if we want to survive as a professional photographer. Overwhelmed and making marketing mistakes. We worked at an ad agency, and every single client that came in and said, I've tried radio and it doesn't work. I've tried TV and it doesn't work. I've tried newspaper and it doesn't work. I've tried direct mail and it doesn't work. They have tried everything and it doesn't work. So all of these puzzle pieces that you're playing with start with a great brand, okay? And that's what we're really digging into today. You can't build a strong foundation or a strong business without that foundation and that brand. It's like building a house and having sand. You're not laying the cement and you're just starting to build that house. Well, it may be a pretty house and it may look strong, but it's not. Okay, so those marketing mistakes and all that money that you guys have invested, and I know every single one of you has tried something that didn't work. So what we're going to talk about mostly tomorrow, I mean, we have good stuff this whole time, but we get heavy into marketing and promotion tomorrow and Friday. But things that you can do that aren't super expensive, that build your brand. Because when we're small businesses, every dollar that we invest in our business has to get us a return. We can't just buy big ads and TV, and we can show you guys all how to make money and build your business that way, but we don't have the budgets to do that kind of stuff. So we want to give you the tools after you've built a brand and you get all the parts of your business in line to be able to have marketing that works. Good feeling, yes? Everyone? Awesome. And then overwhelm.
Yeah. So again, like Sarah said, if you're up all night retouching, I hear it so much. I don't even have time to get to that marketing stuff because I can't even service the clients I've got right now, but the clients I have right now aren't paying me enough. And I just, where do I start? Where do I start? It's this, tailspin, right? So overwhelmed because you don't know where to start and you don't know where to dig in. So, hopefully what happens for you guys over the course of these next 3 days is, we want to calm you down and light the way for you for a path that you can follow that's like, okay, this doesn't have to be so overwhelming and it doesn't have to be so hard.
Ever feel like Fred Flintstone, how his feet are running, but he's not going anywhere? I know we've all been there. I've been there. I've for sure been there, and it's like, I'm so busy. Why am I not making more money? So this is everybody's centering moment to just slow it down. Yes, we have a massage therapist if we start to get back tense again. But the good news is you're in the right place. You guys at home, you're in the right place. We have our fabulous chat team, so we're excited to take questions from everyone at home, because what we find is building a business and marketing a business is not something you do in a vacuum. That's why we love teaching this way, because we learn from each other. I learned doing this. I run a studio and I always get ideas every single time I teach of things that I need to be doing better in my business. So let's go through the agenda, because I know I like to know where we're going. I like to have that roadmap, the GPS. We have our GPS. I'm calling you girls the GPS. So you can say, turn left in 5 minutes.
That is awesome. No one has ever called us that. I love
See,
it.
the GPS girls.
I want you to speak in a British accent, though, when you do it.
I don't think you really want me to try to do that.
We probably have some British accent friends on the chat. Just Skype them in.
This is true. We could do that.
My 9-year-old's been talking with a Scottish accent all week. Like, so now I'm introducing her. These are my 3 kids. This is my Scottish child. Don't know how I got a Scottish child. Just one. Okay, so here's what we are going through. We call the formula that we're teaching you guys BUMP, okay? So the first day of BUMP, the first step of BUMP is branding. And really, you talk about branding, because you guys are going to be in love with Erin probably already are, but by the end of these 3 days, because she is the branding guru. I brought her from brand, and we both have a strong branding background, but we know if you don't have a strong brand, you're not you're not going to succeed. Your marketing's not going to work. Your clients you're not going to get the right clients. It all goes back to brand.
Right. So what happens is, especially as small business owners, we have a smaller budget, right? So, if you're Coca-Cola or you're a big name business, you can afford to have a few missteps in there, right? You can have some things go wrong because you can just throw some more money at it and it'll go away and people will eventually forget, right? But as small business owners, we have such a smaller budget that we can't afford to make those big mistakes with our brand. So we've got to get it right out of the gun. And we also have to be consistent with it because we don't have the money to afford to constantly be putting impressions in front of our clients. We just don't. We don't have $20,000, $30,000 budgets or more to afford a television campaign that will get you results with the amount of repetition that you have to do to get results from that, okay? We don't have the money for a Super Bowl spot. None of us do, right? Not that it would even be the right thing, but we don't have that money. So we have to make sure that every time we're out there marketing our business that we are consistent, and that's where brand comes into play. And so with Sarah and I, our experience working with very huge brands is they had manuals that were so thick of the things that you could do and you could not do when it came to that brand. I mean, you guys have probably all heard even the horror stories of, if you work for Procter & Gamble and with some of their characters like Tony the Tiger and, these different characters, the things that these characters can do, what the Pillsbury Doughboy can and can't do. I mean, it's crazy. We're lucky we don't have to go that far in our businesses. But I mean, can you imagine having to worry about what Tony the Tiger does all day and what he can say and who he can be seen with and where he can, you just can't.
I exactly know because I actually worked at General Mills and worked on the Pillsbury brand. So I know exactly what the Doughboy can or cannot do.
I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy. But when you think about it, then you have to go, okay, from a high level, these are what the most successful brands in the world are doing, and they have this much control. As small business owners, we need to have some control and we need to pay attention. And so we're going to walk you through what goes into graphic standards and how you build that so that you don't have to stop and think. And I know, Claire, you shared with Sarah about how you were in a state of paralysis of that opportunities were coming to you and you couldn't even take advantage of them because you weren't solid in where your brand was, and so you weren't sure which logo to send or what to do here so you're almost in a state of paralysis. If you can lay this foundation from the get-go, and that's where Sarah and I's experience is in, early on in our careers of having this strong foundation so that it's easy to make those decisions because you have a rule book. And you create that rule book through this 21 days of branding product and through your time with us here, you're going to create this rule book, this playbook, and then those decisions aren't hard anymore. And that's what this is about. These are the kinds of decisions that shouldn't be hard. At Sabre, when I was there was never a hard decision, really, when it came to branding because we had rules to follow.
So what we're doing over the next, mostly today and a little bit in the morning, that is one of my favorite parts of this process is we are going to be presenting the Troutmans with a new brand and a new identity and graphic elements and all of these different things. So we're going to have reveals about twice a day. I mean, we're going to be presenting them with really cool stuff. And what I love about that is you'll get to hear the why. So we have our designer right now, Madly, designing away for you guys. And she's going to present you with options and talk about the strengths of each design. And so for you guys at home, seriously tune into the reveals because you will learn so much about how these decisions are made. It's not my cousin's in graphic design school and he's got some fonts, he's going to create me a logo. It's not, it can't be that. Okay, there's strategy and thoughtful. And you guys are the perfect clients for us to do this makeover for because you've been trying different things and you're like, we know what we don't want. We just don't know what we want. So first step for all of you guys at home is branding. Second step, which is day 2, we'll wrap up the brand, present some, new website and all the look and feel so you know what your company's going to look like. But then before we go out and promote and bring a bunch of your clients in, we need you guys to understand numbers because that's how we make decisions. Photographers ask, should I get a studio? Should I hire employees? How do I, what about pricing? We're going to make that really, really simple. Okay, so I want you guys to understand numbers, and believe me, I know we're all creatives, and everyone's like, okay, tomorrow morning I can go to the spa. I can take off tomorrow morning. If you guys aren't all here, we will come find you. At home, we won't know if you're here or not, but we want to help clarify that so that you at least understand the importance of those numbers. And the worst feeling is you're taking in all this money from clients, you're busy, you're paying out all this money, and at the end, where did it go? Where did it go? Okay, so we're going to clarify some of that. And then in the afternoon, talk about marketing.
Yeah, so again, one of the biggest questions we hear a lot of times, and I know you guys are struggling with this at home too, is what products do I sell, right? Because we're creatives and we see something cool over here, we're like, oh my gosh, I have to sell that. I don't know who I'm going to sell it to. I don't know how much I should charge for it. I don't know if I should put it on my price menu or not. What should my price menu look like, right? All this stuff starts going on in our head.
Squirrel. We're all, because it's what makes us great as creatives, but on the business side, it's also what I think sometimes makes our business overwhelming. And it's overwhelming to our clients, it's overwhelming to ourselves, you know, our staff, or if we're doing it alone. So when people go out and they put up the shingle and they're like, I'm going to be a photographer, come to me. If you aren't super clear on what you're selling, that you're priced profitably, what is the final product is going to look like, then bringing in more people doesn't help you.
And I think that's most of the time we hear, if I just had more clients, everything would be fine. I just need more clients, right? And a lot of times that's really not the case. You have enough clients. You're just not servicing the way that you need to. You're not offering them the products that they want. You're not priced in a way to make you profitable. That's what marketing is, guys. Marketing is not, I'm going to throw an ad in the newspaper. I'm not going to run, a Groupon special. Marketing is having your product mix down, having your pricing down, and understanding what to do from a promotional perspective. And then we'll get into that on day 3.
On day 3. So day 3, we're going to have a lot of those foundational decisions made, and we've got some vendors giving away some templates for you guys, and some tools, cool tools all along the way that will help everybody at home get a start on this. Okay, so Friday we are going to get into the promotional plan. That's the element of the marketing mix where we go out and we attract clients. So we're going to teach you guys how to take your budget, how to know what your budget is first, and take that and go out and make sure that every single dollar works for you. No more of this throwing it out there and hoping that this magazine ad does something for you. Okay, really feet on the ground, tactical. Okay, exciting? Yeah. Exciting. But what you have to know is that if you start there, if you aren't here with us these first 2 days, you're going to be the one in a year saying, I tried that and it didn't work. That's why marketing doesn't work, because you're not doing what it takes first. I was a volleyball player and we were all 6 feet tall or taller, and all we wanted to do is spike the ball, spike the ball. And our coach made us learn to serve and to pass and to do all the things, because we weren't going to get to hit the ball if we didn't learn all of the other skills. So sorry, photographers out there listening. You gotta learn the hard stuff to get to do what you love, which was spiking a volleyball and which is holding a camera and creating amazing images. So stay with us these first 2 days, and if you can't, invest in this, because we have 20 years plus of combined experience of working with small business owners, and we're putting everything out here. And I think this is the kind of thing you can go through once a year, because you're realizing, okay, I need to up my brand, and then next year you're gonna be like, okay, I need to work more on these things. So we're going to go through promotion in the morning, and then end of the day Friday, we're going to talk about that 4-letter word that everyone doesn't want to say, sell, right? Heaven forbid we have to sell our work. We're artists. They should see our beautiful photography and say, oh, I love that online picture that's 2 by 2. I want it 40 inches. Okay, we're going to take the scary out of sell, and we're going to teach you how to create a system that thrills your clients. So we're not teaching high pressure, smarmy, salesy, pushy. None of us like that. We don't want to be pushed into something we don't want. That you've got to remember that people come to us because they want photography, right? So if we don't get them what they came to us for, and they're going to think about it, or they're going to ponder over online images for years, then we're not serving our clients. So we love the selling part, and we want to take the fear out of that.
Well, I think a good point is, you just said, and I have to get this in here. people come to you guys because they want photography. They don't come to you because they want their images on a CD. They come to you because they want those images themselves, right? They want the photography piece. So you don't have to just give them those images on a CD. I see you guys going, oh.
They're like, convince me.
Yeah, so how do we overcome that, right? How do we overcome that? And that's what we'll talk about on day 3, is how you overcome that person that comes in and says, I just want everything on CD. You know, just give me that. Why won't you do that? We'll talk about that.
Yep. And it's going to be fun. Yes? Everybody's excited. I love our audience, our live audience. We picked well. So I can tell you guys are all excited. And we have activities for you guys to do and for you guys at home that we will watch the progress. So case studies, not just the Troutmans, everyone else will be working through these exercises. And I think when you get to see it happen, like we can tell you guys how to go home and do this, but when you get to see someone else do it, light bulbs go off, getting clarity on who you are and where you want to go. Again, we're creating that puzzle box.